All rise.
The Kosovo Specialist Chambers is now in session.
Please be seated. Good morning and welcome. Madam Court Officer, can you please call the case?
Good morning, Your Honors. This is file KSC BC 2020-04, the Specialist Prosecutor versus Pietar Shala.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Mr. Prosecutor, can you tell me who's present today in court?
Good morning, Your Honors. Line Pedersen, Giulia Bianchi, Gaia Pergolo, and Filippo De Micis for the SPO.
Thank you. Victims' Counsel.
Good morning, Your Honours. I'm Simon Law's counsel for the victims in this case, together with my co-counsel, Maria Radziowska.
Thank you. Defense Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, and good morning to you, my honor. I am Mr. Jalisen. We are here with Mr. Shala, and this is the same team than yesterday. Ms. Carriero, Mr. Awini. I don't think I have to go.
We take note of the fact that you have said that we are in the same composition with regard to the rest of the team. Then it's noted.
Yeah, accepting our translator. She is not there, but the same.
Okay, but that's important too. So
of course.
yeah.
Thank you
Good.
very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Very well. Mr. Shala, can you hear me fine?
Yes, I can. Good morning.
Very well. We will continue with the examination of witness 1. We will be sitting again in the same way as yesterday with our 1.5 hour sessions. Defense Counsel, could you indicate how long you think you will be needing this morning? Approximately.
Good morning, Your Honours. Good morning to everyone in and around the courtroom. Yes, we were planning to update Your Honours on this. We obviously assessed what's left with what we have, and we estimate to be a maximum of 15 minutes, maybe less, depending on how the answers goes, the accuracy of the answers. We propose to wrap up with one document, the last discussion of yesterday, just put the document with the references from the transcript, and then I would move to my last topic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then we can proceed with the testimony of the witness if there's nothing from the other side to be raised. No. Very well, thank you. Madam Court Officer, we will proceed. Madam Court Officer, could you bring the witness in? Good morning, Mr. Witness.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Mr. Shala, can you confirm that you hear the witness?
Yes, I hear very well, thank you.
Mr. Witness, I remind you that you're still under oath to tell the truth. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
I will give the floor now to the Defense Counsel. He will continue with the last piece of his cross-examination, and then we will see if there is a need for a second round by the other party and Victims' Counsel. And then at the end, there will be questions from the panel. Yes? Good. Defense Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Witness.
Good morning.
Go to private session to finish the last point.
Madam Court Officer, can you bring us into private session, please?
Your Honor, we're in private session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Defense Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Witness, we spoke yesterday about a point that we need to finish. It won't take long, and then I will move to my last topic to ask you the last questions I have. So, you told us, Mr. Witness, on Friday, last Friday, at transcript page 1617 of the transcript, that you never had Serbian-issued documents, and I read at line 13, did you take your passports with you? And you answered no, because I did. I never in my life had any Serbian-issued documents.
Your Honours, we're in public session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. We will have a break of 20 minutes. The Court Management Unit will facilitate contact between you and your client. And after that, we will come back and we will continue with the examination of the witness. Yes? Very well. The hearing is adjourned for 20 minutes.
All rise. All rise.
Please be seated. Welcome back. I see we are in the same composition. Yes, I see nodding. Very well, that is noted. Mr. Shala is there too. I will give you the floor, Defense Counsel, as soon as we go into private to give your views.
Maybe I can respond in public. It's purely legal arguments back. Maybe you can try.
I have a preference to go into private. And we will leave the witness for now not in the courtroom. Very well. Madam Court Officer, can you bring us into private session?
Your Honours, we're in private session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Defense Counsel, you were put in the possibility to discuss with your client? Yes?
We're grateful for that. Yes, we did.
Okay, very well. You have the floor to give your views on this specific topic.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you very much. We strongly reject this objection for the three reasons that are following. First, my learned colleague, said that we are trying to adduce opinion evidence referring to the 1st of May and the use of that and our objection with regard to other witnesses. The situation is completely different. We did not ask this witness for his opinion. We did not do that. We have put information, and I clearly said we are putting information, we have the basis for that. Since he spoke about individuals' witness, I allowed him the opportunity to respond with the extra information if that information or belief comes from investigators. That's point one. Point two, this is not opinion. This is the belief. It's very different from opinion. This is the belief of professional investigators who dealt with this person. We are not seeing in the document, I think, or I have formed the opinion. No, this is belief of investigators. So we're not talking about opinion. We're not talking about the same thing. The third point, that this has been dealt with, I personally don't remember asking any other question
Victims' Council, from your side.
Briefly, if I may, it's true, dealing with the first point, that what Defence Counsel is doing is not asking this witness his opinion, but he's doing something significantly worse than that, which is asking a question based on someone else's opinion. We don't even have the person here in the courtroom to give any possibility of assessing the weight that we should attach to their opinion. So it's not an answer to the objection. It just underlines it in our submission. The difference, moving to the second point, the suggestion that there's a difference between someone's belief and their opinion is, we suggest, simply impossible to sustain. If I believe something, then I have an opinion about it. My co-counsel has helpfully opened Merriam-Webster's dictionary, which gives us one of the definitions of opinion, a belief based on experience. That they're interchangeable, and that's not an answer. As to the third, I'm very happy to apologise if that's the position that we ended up not asking the witness question. I know there was a very great deal of discussion about it, and if it wasn't asked yesterday, then I withdraw my third objection.
Thank you. Can we conclude the exchange of positions?
We maintain every single thing we said in our response.
Thank you, Defence Counsel. There are a few observations to make in this respect. And we have to reply to the question to allow or not this question. Now, it's not an issue of admissibility of evidence. It's about allowing this question or not. And with regard to us being in private, we had a very large group in the public gallery, and I wanted to avoid that if we would discuss this topic and something would go out, then it would have been of no use to do any redactions because there would have been too large a group. And here I apply the rule better safe than sorry.
Your Honors, we're now in public session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Mr. Witness, the defense has finalized its cross-examination. I will now turn to the Specialist Prosecutor's Office to see if they want to proceed with questioning you. Mr. Prosecutor, do you wish to proceed with the redirect examination of the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. We don't have much, but before we proceed, if we could ask for the witness to be just escorted out for a second, because with regard to a matter we want to explore, we'd like to seek the panel's guidance, as it may or may not be necessary to actually put certain questions to the witness.
Very well. Very well, yes. Mr. Witness, you will be ushered out for a moment because we have to discuss again something. Thank you. Please, Mr. Prosecutor.
Yes, Your Honor, we're going to have to go into private session for this.
Okay. Madam Court Officer, can you bring us into private session, please?
Your Honours, we're in public session.
Thank you. Madam Court Officer, could you have the witness usher in? Mr. Witness, thank you for coming back. This was to inform you that the Specialist Prosecutor's Office will continue with its examination of you after the break. So that means that we now will adjourn the hearing for 30 minutes. We will proceed at 11:20, and then you will be asked questions by Mr. Prosecutor. Yes? So thank you for coming in. You will be ushered out again, but I wanted to inform you what we were doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the hearing is adjourned till 11:20.
All rise. All rise.
Please be seated. Welcome back. I will ask Madame Court Usher to bring the witness in, please. Welcome back, Mr. Witness.
Thank you.
You have the floor. Do you want to remain in public session or do we have to go into private?
Your Honor, I'm afraid my redirect will need to be conducted entirely in private session.
Madame Court Officer, can you bring us into private session, please?
Your Honours, we're in public session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Mr. Witness, you have been asked several questions by the Prosecutor and Victims' Counsel and Defence Counsel. And the panel would like to ask you some additional questions to gain more clarity with regard to what you have already stated in your testimony and your prior statements. So bear with us some more. I will start with some of the questions now. Understood?
Yes.
Thank you. Very well. I will ask Madam Court Officer to bring us into private session, please. Thank you, Mr. Witness. Very well. I'm going to confer with one of my colleagues, and then I come back to you. Thank you. Mr. Witness, I will have some more questions for you, but for now I will give the floor to my colleague on my left-hand side. He will start putting questions to you, and after that I will come back to you. Okay? Very well. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Judge. I think we could try to go back into public session.
Madam Court Officer, could you bring us into public session, please?
Your Honours, we're in public session.
Thank you. Mr. Witness, a lot of questions on precise events were put to you, and I would like now to have an idea about the general situation at the Cookes Metal Factory. You do not have to mention names because we have in public session. If you want to mention names, then just let me know and we will go back to private session. And we will first go to the sketch which was discussed extensively on the first day of your testimony, Tuesday last week. And I would like to have on the screen a document which is SITF 000-12876 to SITF 000-12878, and it is page 3. This is not to be displayed to the public. Alors, Mr. Witness, do you see the sketch in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Could you go to the top? So at the top of the sketch, there is a food warehouse, and then there is like a square with a number 3. And there is something which is written in English on that. And I will read it to you, and I understand that you did not write this because it is written in English and you don't write in English. That's correct, no?
Yes, I don't write in English.
If I understand well, because it's not that easy, it's number 3, room where Serbians held. So I repeat. So it's a number 3, and then it is said room where Serbians held. Do you confirm that you said this? that you heard them scream. So you heard apparently those detainees screaming?
Yes.
Could you elaborate? Do you think they were screaming because they were mistreated or they were arguing? What do you have any idea why they were screaming?
We thought that they were being mistreated, but again, I'm telling you that I don't know whether this is true or not. Maybe they just played games so that we get scared. Maybe there was no Serb being held there. They just wanted to instill fear. Maybe they just play acted. Our windows had no glass, so we could hear the voices.
Okay. Did you see a senior officer going to that room?
You cannot see this room without going outside. You cannot see it from number 1, 2, or 3. You had to go out from behind in order to be able to see it.
Thank you for that. Last week you told us that 3 Romas were detained in the warehouse and then they were moved to room 1. This is transcript page 1414, lines 17 to 24. You also told us that other places were used for detention. This was room 1 and room 3. This is in the transcript, page 1421, lines 19 to 20. Do you know if other buildings, other places at the Kukes Metal Factory were used for detention? the Serbians being eventually detained in that room which is close to the warehouse. Did you hear, did you understand why Serbians would be detained on one place, whereas Romas and Kosovar Albanians would be detained separately?
As I said, I did not see the Serbs. I just heard voices. As I said, they could have just been play acting to scare us, but I did not see the Serbs with my own eyes.
Was it possible to see from the courtyard at the Kukes Metal Factory that people were detained on the premises? So when you entered the courtyard, was it easy to see that actually people were detained there?
From the warehouse, you could not see outside, only if you went out to the door, because the windows were very high or above, higher than in this courtroom. And you could not see from there, only who entered the warehouse that you could see, but for the rest you couldn't.
Madam Court Officer, I think you can take the... Madam Court Officer, you can take the evidence out from the screen. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have any idea how many people were detained at the Kukes Metal Factory, taking into consideration the different places of detention at the Kukes Metal Factory? Do you have any idea about how many people were detained there?
When I was taken to room number 1, in the meantime, they could have taken somebody else to warehouse, or maybe they didn't. I know for number 1 and 3, while I was there, at one point we were 12 or 13. At times, there were only 6 or 7 of us, depending on whether they released someone or not. But there was a point when we were 12 of us in the room, and at all times there were not less than 5 to 7 people. I'm speaking about number 1, room number 1, which had more detainees.
When people, and I'm speaking about detainees, when they were taken out of room number 1, for example, they were taken out by soldiers, I guess. Or did you see detainees being released and leaving freely the Kukes Metal Factory? Did you see that?
When they were taken from the room, they were always taken by the military police or a soldier to go out in the courtyard, someone opening the door for them, that I did not see.
Thank you. With regard to the Romas who were detained with you, do you know if they were asked to do some things or forced to perform some tasks that others were not asked to do?
They were forced to carry foodstuff and to load trucks from the warehouse. Whatever was needed to be done, they would take the Romas. So they would beat them, but also use them for labor. Whenever they would bring food, trucks loaded with food and which needed to be unloaded, they would use the Romas for that work.
Thank you. Do you know why they were forcing only the Romas to do that?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember, and there's nothing to remember. They were detainees, and they forced them whether they wanted or not. It didn't matter. And in Kosovo, they always stigmatized the Roma.
I understand. Thank you. A few more questions about the Kukes Metal Factory. What did you hear during the night at the Kukes Metal Factory when you were detained in room number 1?
We heard conversations. I can't remember them entirely. Now, when soldiers would come back from the front line, some of them would be wounded, somebody from their family had been killed, or a comrade in arms had been killed. Then, in those circumstances, they wanted to enter the room where we were kept and to maltreat us, but the guards would not let them in. So these sorts of threats, they would come to the window, curse our mothers, and use offensive language.
Okay. Did you hear people screaming at night at the Kukes Metal Factory?
As far as I remember, and I've forgotten, but as far as my room is concerned, the people would be brought up in a beaten up state after they had been beaten in room number 2. Even if somebody had just arrived, he would be brought back to our room in a beaten up state.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that when people would be brought to your room, they were already beaten, and you could see that because you saw the marks on their bodies and their faces. That's what you're telling me?
Yes.
At night, was it possible for you from room 1 to hear people coming into the Kukes Metal Factory? Could you hear, for example, the cars coming in?
Yes. Yes, because from the room over there, you could see the barrier. You could see it's one end of it. You could see the cars coming in. If you were standing, you'd be able to see. You wouldn't if you were sat, and you could see it from this side and that side too. From this side, you could see the entire courtyard and the barrier, whilst from the other side, you could only see one tiny section of the barrier. From the other side, however, you had a good view of the courtyard, the headquarters, and more than half of the warehouse.
Was it a busy place? Meaning, was there a lot of people coming in, going out? Were there a lot of cars coming in and going out?
Yes, there were movements, sometimes more, sometimes less, sometimes there wasn't any, depending on their moves, really.
Okay. you told me already a bit, but I would like to have a bit more information, if you can, on that, where people brought regularly as new detainees in room 1 during the night or during the day.
It depends on how the individual was caught. Was it in the daytime? Was it at night? It all depends.
Was it regularly? Did it happen more than once or regularly that new detainees would be brought in?
No, it wasn't regular because if that were regular, I would have been able to see at least 500 to 600 people. No, they did not bring in people regularly. Those who came in there, I saw them with my own eyes, and those who were detained and some released and so on and so forth, the numbers would certainly be around 40 or so. Some were kept for a day, 2 days, 3 days, some for a week or 2 weeks. There were people who were brought in for 2 or 3 days and not beaten up because they probably knew somebody higher up the chain, somebody who would have intervened and released them.
Thank you very much. You, I think, already answered a question I had, and I'm really reaching my last question. I was about to ask you, in total, how many people did you see being detained in room 1 during the time you were there, including those who were detained for a limited amount of time? And I see that you speak about 40 or so. Is that correct? That if you count, or if you try to remember all the people who were brought to room 1, okay.
Yes. Roughly so. I cannot be exact, but there were lots who were brought in, who were released. Some were held for a day or 2 or 3. Some were held for over a week.
Okay. So I understand, and that would be my last question, that there were people who were taken out of room 1 that you never saw again.
Yes.
I want to thank you very, very much for your patience. Thank you very much. These were my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your Honours, we're in public session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Mr. Witness, we will now have a break for lunch of 1.5 hours, so till 2:15. And then the panel will finalize the questioning. There will still be some questions, but that is the last part. And I foresee that we, with your examination, we will finish today. Yes, so thank you for now. I wish you good lunch, and Madame Court Usher will accompany you out. Okay?
Thank you.
So that is the planning for the afternoon. I wish you good lunch. We see each other at 2:15. Thank you. The hearing is adjourned.
All rise. All rise.
Please be seated. Welcome back. I see on my right-hand side the same composition for the Victims' Council 2 and for the defense.
Almost the same.
Almost the same.
Ms. Carriolu is sorry, but she's not there.
Very well. I see Mr. Shala with us via video link. Can you hear me fine, Mr. Shala? Please put on your microphone, Mr. Shala, because we could not hear you. I still cannot hear you, Mr. Shala.
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Then we have established that connection too, and that is important. Mr. Prosecutor, you have the floor.
Your Honor, just as more clarification for the record before I forget to do so. At page 49, Your Honor was questioning the witness with regard to a statement he gave to the SPO.
Yes.
Your Honor indicated that's a statement from 2021, but in fact it's from 2019.
Mr. Prosecutor, you are right. Thank you. And we have put that on record. And I saw that too. Good. That we have noted. Something else parties would like to raise at this moment in time? No? Then I will ask Madame Court Usher to bring the witness in. Thank you. Mr. Witness, welcome back.
Thank you.
Mr. Shala, could you hear the witness?
Yes, I did.
Mr. Witness, I will ask you some further questions, and I think that we then can wrap up the examination. Madam Court Officer, could you please bring us into private session?
There were many black units. There were several. The units, however, that wore black clothing, they were the best prepared and the ones with the longest and best experience at war.
Do you know if Mr. Shala was a part of this black unit?
He most certainly would have been, because his clothing was such black. I've never seen him wearing any other uniform but black.
Yes. You now tell us that he wore a black uniform, but my question is if he was a part of this, if you remember or if you know that he was a part of this black unit. And if you don't know, that's also an answer, of course.
I don't know. All I know is that he told me once when we were at the warehouse that he was a superior officer. Whether he was or not, I don't know. I'm relaying here only his words.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. Then let us go back to a prior statement of yours. And I will read it to you, and then we can see if that helps to refresh your memory. It is 059730, and I'm not sure if I now again turn the two numbers, or is this the right one? The right one, okay, very well. So 059730 TRET, Part 4 revised, that is the, as indicated, the English translation, and that would correspond to the Albanian translation, page 10, starting at line 1.
What's the English page number?
The English page is by, sorry, I did not tell you, that is page, let me see, 20, no, page 10. So it's page 9, line, the last line, and then page 10, line 1. So then line 25, you said it was a member of the, he was a member of the special unit with black, and then we have to go to the next page, with black uniform, a special unit, the most dangerous unit. They were the ones with all the most fierce actions. When I read this to you, does some more information come to your mind with regard to this special unit with black uniforms?
Your Honor, as I said, the special unit that wore black clothing were the most prepared to carry out war in Kosovo. There were lots of them. Some were called the Leopard, the Leopard, Tigra, the Tigers, and other special units. However, those ones who wore black clothing were the ones who were most prepared and the ones that undertook the boldest of actions. They were the most drilled of the troops, and they had a better experience. They were specially selected. They were taller, well-built, people who were braver.
Okay, I will leave it for here now. Mr. Witness, when we discuss, I asked you about Mr. Shala, from whom he would take orders, and you replied to that. If I ask, can you give an answer to the question, if you know, how, in what relation Mr. Shala stood to Krzemsit Krasniqi?
I don't know. I did not know then. I don't know it now. All I know that they were in the same office all the time, talking and laughing and so on and so forth. They should know that best. I know that he's got good relations with Sabit. I don't know about Jemshit, however. They served in the same staff HQ. They certainly must have had a good relationship, given that they collaborated really closely together in everything, including the mistreatment and so on and so forth. So I assume that their relationship was good.
What you know, with regard to Sabit Getci, you said that he was in a good relationship with him.
Yes.
I read in. I will call up. No, could I say that he was the right hand of Mr. Sabit Getci?
I wouldn't be able to describe it with 100% certainty, but they cooperated with Subit and they implemented everything that Subit ordered them to do, given that Subit was their superior. You can see the kind of relationship when people are talking and laughing with each other and so on and so forth. I mean, even the manner of smiling and laughter is different when I'm with a friend of mine than with someone else. So their relationship was good, I'd say.
And you know that? Why do you know that? How could you know that? You're now saying, I think they had a good relationship, and my question to you is now, how do you know that?
Even after the war, I was told that they stayed and spent time together after the war too. It was not only in Kukus during the war, but also across Kosovo after the war. And this comes from what I heard from friends and other people. They told me that they enjoy good relations.
But I mean, when you were in Kukus, you saw it. That's my question. Did you see them interacting?
Yes, I saw that they were chatting and laughing, and he was sat right next to Sabit, this one here.
Yes. My next question relates to Zemshit Krasniqi. From whom would he take orders? Do you know that?
No, I don't, because Jemshit was the one who came to our room most often. He did come to our room without their presence. As far as I know, Jemshit was in charge of the detainees. And I can say that with about 90% certainty. However, when Sabit was there, he was the man in charge. No one dared disobey him.
Yes. I will now discuss with you shortly a prior statement you gave, which is 083219 ETTR, Part 2 revised. And it in the Albanian translation, it's page 45, line 5, and in the English translation we are at page 33. Very well, thank you. Line 5, you say everyone would take orders from Sabit Getchi. So also Mr. Krasniqi.
Yes.
Very well. And do you know from whom Mr. Sabit Getchi would take his orders?
I don't know. At the time, he was a strong man, and he remained until very late. Now the situation has changed, but at the time he was a strong man. He was someone who wouldn't obey anyone. I don't think he would obey anyone, to be frank with you.
But the bottom line of your answer is that you don't know from whom he was taking his orders.
Yes. All I know that he was all powerful.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Witness. Yes, there is an other question I would like to put to you on a topic you already partly testified. You gave testimony on where you saw Mr. Shala at the headquarters when you were mistreated. And I mentioned, for example, the transcript of the 31st of May, page 1537, lines 2 to 10. And my question to you now is, how often in the period you were there, as far as you remember, of course, according to you, did you see Mr. Shala? Do you, yes, now I will say, do it differently. I will try to see if I can refresh your memory on this with the prior statement, and if you don't remember anything about the number of times you have seen him. Then you say so. But before I get to the prior statement, do you remember, according to what you have seen, the number of times he allegedly mistreated somebody?
No, I honestly can't remember, because it's been such a long time and there's quite a few things that I have forgotten about.
Very well. Then I will call up a prior statement of yours, which is 083219 TRET Part 4, and page 14. And that would correspond to page 19. The first two lines of that page in the Albanian translation. And then page 14. Thank you, Madam Court Officer, for pulling it up.
Microphone for your honor, please.
The question that was posed to you at page 14, lines 5 and 6 was Peter Shala, how often did you see him during the time that you were being held in Pukas? And then your answer was he took part in 10 to 12 maltreatment occasions that happened there. Is that, bring that something back to you, or?
I honestly can't remember, but it is likely that I would have mentioned that, because somebody in the room might have mentioned it, but he certainly did not beat me 10 or 12 times. I'm not going to invent something that did not happen, but I cannot remember everything, given it's been such a long time.
That I posed to you, and it's very what you just how you summarized what is said there is exactly what is written there. It was not in relation to you. It can be taken off the screen, Madam Court Officer.
Your Honours, we're in public session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Mr. Witness, this is the end of the examination of you before this panel. I would like to thank you very much for the efforts you have put into giving your testimony in the last days. I remind you that you shall not discuss the testimony you have given before this panel with anyone. Yeah. I wish you a safe trip home. And I thank you again. Madam Court Usher will usher you out.
Thank you very much. I have testified to what I was able to remember, and I wasn't able to go further to what I was able to remember, so thank you very much. I have told you everything that I thought I remembered. That's all I had, so thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Madam Court Usher. Before we adjourn this hearing, we will give an oral ruling on a matter. And yes, and this oral ruling can be given in public. It's an oral ruling on the defense request for reconsideration of the decision concerning the prior statements given by Peter Shala. This is filing 515. The panel has considered all submissions made by the parties, including the SPO response, which is filing 527, and the defense reply, filing 533, and this is already a summary of what we will decide, we will reject the request. First, the panel notes that reconsideration must not be used as a second appellate remedy or to relitigate matters already decided upon. The admissibility of the accused statements has been extensively litigated before this panel. The panel then granted the defense leave to appeal its decision, which is filing 401. The defense did so, and the Court of Appeals panel ruled on the matter and upheld the panel's decision. The defense may not use Rule 79 of the rules to reopen matters that have already been decided upon because it disagrees with the outcome. Second, under Rule 79 of the rules, reconsideration is an exceptional remedy. This means that the party seeking reconsideration must meet a high threshold in showing that the panel committed an error of reasoning or that reconsideration is necessary to avoid injustice. And the panel is not satisfied that the defense has done so. And while the Court of Appeals panel found that this panel committed an error in its finding that Mr. Shala was not overall barred from access to a lawyer during his interview with the Belgian Federal Justice Police in 2016, it held that the violation of Mr. Shala's human rights was ultimately limited. And I refer to filing IA 006, filing 00007, paragraph 79. And the Court of Appeals panel also clearly stated that it found no indicia of unreliability or possible damage to the integrity of the proceedings if the interview is admitted. And this is paragraph 81. And finally, the panel considers that it is important to uphold the principle of finality and finds that reconsideration is not warranted in the present circumstances. And for these reasons, the panel rejects the defense request. And this concludes the panel's oral ruling. We are almost at the end of this third evidentiary block. We will have a next hearing the 16th of June. I'm looking at the SPO and I see a nodding which I interpret as a yes. We will hear a witness then. Everything is set for that day, as far as you can confirm.
Your Honor, we understand from the language series of the KC that interpreters have been secured and we understand everything is settled. We will just confirm that and let Your Honor know should there be an issue, but we don't know of any at the moment.
Very well.
Your Honor, the interpreters would like to make a correction to page 78, lines 23, 24. I don't know if we can do this in public or private because we don't remember whether it was said in private or public session.
Let us see if we can. It was in private, so we will go in private and then we come back to public and then we will continue with what we were doing. Madame Court Officer, thank you for bringing us into private.
So page 78.
Your Honor, we're in public session.
Thank you very much. Mr. Prosecutor, you were informing the panel that if there would be a need to give us a further update, then it would come as soon as possible. Very well. I will make my tour de table. Mr. Prosecutor, is there something you would like to raise with the
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Very well. The Victims' Counsel.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Defense Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. If I may be allowed a few seconds, just to, on behalf, on the name of Mr. Gillison, Ms. Cariolo, and myself, three counsel, we would like to thank the team that assisted us, and in particular, Ms. Camille Gousson and Mr. Mathias Langlais, who are interns in our team and will be leaving us after this block, because they are interns and they provided a huge contribution beyond what is expected and anticipated from interns. So we thank them publicly and thank you for allowing us to do it.
Take note of that. Then, if there's nothing else to raise with the panel, it's my time because we are concluding the hearing for this third evidentiary block to thank also some people, and we always thank the security, the stenographer, the audiovisual booth, and the interpreters for their assistance, and I thank also the parties and Victims Council for their attendance. The hearing is adjourned.
All rise.